mean, you both know more than 99% of the doctors out there on nutrition.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
So a large portion of our channel is talking about eating a healthy diet and living a healthy lifestyle. And obviously we get a lot of questions from people about the information we give.
Today we want to clear up some things because we're starting to think a few things might be happening. For example, people either aren't watching an entire video and hearing all of the information we're giving,
or they're watching a video but they're only hearing what they want to hear and not what we're actually saying.
And it's also clear that many people aren't clicking on the description under our health-related videos and clicking on the links that we provide that back up what we're saying with scientific evidence.
So it's a little frustrating for us to make this video because if people actually watched our videos properly, listened to what we're saying and then followed the links that we provide, there wouldn't be any confusion.
Anyhow, we're going to address some of the common concerns that we hear, and we were also lucky enough to speak with Dr. Michael Greger from nutritionfacts.org about some of these concerns too.
Unfortunately, his time was very limited, so we didn't get to ask him the long list of questions we had, but we do have another appointment with him in December, so hopefully we'll get the chance to discuss more then.
And for those who don't know, Dr. Greger is a clinical physician specialising in nutrition who simply presents the best available balance of scientific evidence.
That's right. And if somebody has a personal bias against Dr. Greger for whatever reason, there's not much that we can do about that.
All right, first up, apparently we're saying that a vegan diet cures everything.
This always makes us laugh because we've never actually said that. In fact, a lot of the claims that you'll hear in this video are actually people just twisting what we really say and putting their own agenda and spin on it.
Sometimes reading the comments is like listening in on a game of Chinese whispers. For example, we'll say broccoli is good for you, and then we'll read, I heard TBC said you'll die if you don't eat 2 pounds of broccoli every day.
It's incredible. We have never said that a vegan diet will cure everything because one, not everything is curable, and two, not all vegan diets are the same.
Here's Dr. Greger's response to our question, are all vegan diets created equally?
Oh my God, you can have an abysmal vegan diet. Coca-Cola, totally vegan, right? French fries, potatoes, trans fats, in fact, the most unhealthiest thing in the world, like Crisco, right? Hydrogenated vegetable oil even has vegetable in its title, yet it's worse than processed meat, which is like the second worst thing to eat in your life, right? There's nothing worse than like pure trans fats in your mouth. That could be totally vegan. So wait a second, the worst thing on the planet is vegan? Yes, right? So yeah, you can have a horrible diet. In fact, that's why I don't talk in my books on the website about veganism, because that just tells me, as a physician, that tells me what you don't eat. Okay, but that's why I prefer whole food, plant-based nutrition. Oh, that actually tells me what you do. You actually eat vegetables. Great, right? So right now, the best available balance of evidence suggests that the healthiest diet is one that's centered on whole plant foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes, beans, split peas, chickpeas, lentils, whole grains, nuts and seeds, mushrooms, herbs and spices, basically real food that grows out of the ground. These are our healthiest choices while minimizing our intake of meat, dairy, eggs, and processed junk.
And this is why when we're talking about health and a vegan diet, we're always talking about a diet based predominantly on whole plant foods.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we eat. That's what's helped us heal our health problems. That's what the science suggests, and that's what we promote.
There's only one response video that we can think of where we didn't suggest that somebody focus their diet on whole plant foods initially, and we'll talk more about that later on.
So when we are talking about whole plant foods, we're not talking about more processed plant foods like vegan meats, bacon, chicken nuggets, and vegan cheeses, yogurts, ice cream, etc.
Yeah, we're talking about fruit, vegetables, greens, whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes.
And of course occasionally having things like whole grain pasta, noodles and bread, etc. But the main foods, the focus, are whole plant foods.
So of course people can eat those plant-based alternatives if they want to, and we do encourage people to eat them if they are going to keep someone vegan.
That's right. But whole plant foods are optimal for health, and that is what we're mainly focusing on when we're giving health advice.
Now, we've gone over this before, but just to clarify, if somebody is eating a whole plant foods diet, then they're pretty much going to be eating high carb, low fat.
And that's simply because most whole plant foods are high in carbohydrates and low in fat. And low fat does not mean no fat. Low fat means up to around 20% of daily calories from fat.
So someone's macros don't have to be 95-5 or even 80-10-10. They can be higher in fat and protein, but if it's still focused around whole plant foods, then by default, they're still going to be eating a high carb, low fat diet.
And also, whether someone eats high fruit or high starch, they're still eating a high carb, low fat diet.
What we recommend is what we've done ourselves over the years. Experiment. And within a predominantly whole plant foods diet, people can adjust the diet to suit whatever stage they're at.
Yeah, for example, when we first came to this lifestyle, we ate a high fruit diet for 18 months, and that was perfect for us at that stage. The cleansing nature of fruit really helped our bodies heal.
And then at one point, we felt ready to introduce more legumes into our diet. So we did, and we felt great.
And then we decided it was time to introduce more cooked food. And for the past 17 months, we've been eating fruit first thing in the morning, followed by a cooked, starch-based breakfast, lunch and dinner of whole grains, legumes, vegetables, greens and some seeds.
And more recently, we've increased our avocados and seeds because that's what feels right now. So we've basically been eating high carb, low fat for the last 3 years. And within that time, we've tweaked the diet just based on how we feel. And that's what we suggest people do. The problem is that not everybody focuses on whole plant foods, and therefore they may not get the health benefits they expected despite switching to a vegan diet.
Yeah, a great example of this is Carly Bible, who went vegan earlier this year. And one of her biggest motivators was the hope that a vegan diet would cure her chronic and debilitating eczema. And it did improve initially her conditions, but then it slowly came back again and she hasn't received much benefit, if any at all.
Yeah, now thankfully she's got a strong ethical foundation, so yeah, she's sticking with it and she's doing a great job on that front, but yeah, she obviously would be disappointed that she still has eczema.
So this is where you need to know exactly what kind of vegan diet is someone eating. And we've been following Carly and her boyfriend Brett Cap and looking at a lot of their shopping hauls, and it's wonderful. They have a lot of whole plant foods, which is great. They also have a lot of processed vegan foods, and on one level that's fantastic because they are making a vegan lifestyle so appealing to their large audiences and making a lot of people want to go vegan and go vegan,
That's
no doubt.
right, yeah.
So,
they've got the vegan meats and the dairy, they've got vegan cheesecake, the list goes on. But the devil is in the detail here. So those processed foods are not going to be helping Carly's eczema right now.
No, when you've got a chronic condition like eczema, you need to strip the diet right back to bare bones whole plant foods. And that means eliminating all processed foods altogether. And in time, as your condition heals and improves, you may be able to slowly reintroduce some of those processed foods and your body might be able to tolerate them. And if it doesn't, then you can take them out once more.
Yeah, but initially you just want to get down to the basics, make it a very clean, simple diet focused on whole plant foods. Now, it was interesting that when Carly initially went vegan, one of her motivations or inspirations was actually Frilly the Banana Girl's mother, Lindy, who suffered with eczema for 57 years, really bad eczema, chronic. And she cured her eczema, or cleared it up, within 3 months of going vegan. Now, we spoke to Lindy about this on Facebook messages, we've got them here in front of us, and we asked her about the detail. Again, the devil's in the detail.
That's right.
What exactly was Lindy eating compared to what Carly is eating?
Now, she wasn't eating 100% raw food, but she was eating a lot of fruit. No processed stuff, no milks, no cheeses or meats. And she did have a few reoccurrences in the past few months. I mean, she healed the eczema years ago now.
Yes, but when she's out or traveling and she's eating more
processed foods,
she found the eczema did come back a little bit. And then when she cleaned her diet up again, it went away. So it comes and goes depending on what she puts in her body. And Lindy also mentioned that she drinks a lot of water too, and that helps. So if we compare Lindy's diet with Carly's diet, both suffering severely from eczema, they're two very different diets, even though they're both vegan. So Carly can't expect to have the same results as Lindy got if she's not eating like Lindy, which again was a high fruit diet.
With minimal processed foods, because she has observed that she's very intolerant to processed foods. So when people say that a vegan diet didn't cure their health problem, that's not our fault, because it really does depend on exactly what kind of vegan diet they're eating, and of course other lifestyle factors that we'll talk more about later on.
Are we making false claims that a whole plant foods diet will cure everything?
No, we're not saying it will cure everything. We say it gives our bodies the best shot at curing health problems.
It's the best chance we have to heal. Of course, your condition may only improve and not heal completely though.
Yeah, but as Dr. Greger explains, a plant-based diet centered on whole plant foods should be our default diet.
So for example, plant-based diet, diet centered on whole plant foods, is the only diet ever been shown to reverse heart disease in the majority of patients. Right? I mean, if that's all a plant-based diet could do, reverse the number one killer of men and women. Shouldn't that be the default diet to prove another one?
Exactly.
And the fact that it can also be effective in preventing, arresting, or reversing other leading killers like type 2 diabetes and hypertension would seem to make the case for plant-based eating simply overwhelming. Now look, it's the only diet ever been shown to do that. So anytime someone tries to sell you on some new diet, do me a favor. Ask them, wait a second. Has this diet been proven to reverse heart disease? Number one reason me and all my loved ones will die? If the answer is no, why would you even consider it, right? Only one diet can do that. It's hard to cherry pick when there's only one cherry.
When we say 14 of the 15 leading causes of our death have been scientifically linked to eating animal products, including heart disease, some types of cancers, type 2 diabetes, etc.
We're not making that up.
No.
It's not a false claim. It's not pseudoscience. We're simply parroting the best available balance of scientific evidence that is already out there.
For example, if people don't think the diet we follow and advocate can prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes and help manage type 1 diabetes, and they're calling that pseudoscience,
then they're actually calling the best available balance of scientific evidence, and in particular the research of diabetes specialist Dr. Neal Barnard, pseudoscience.
they're not insulting and discrediting us, they're insulting and discrediting the science, and in this case, Dr. Barnard.
Next question for Dr. Greger.
Dr. Gray, there are a lot of vegan YouTubers like ourselves who are not formally qualified in nutrition, and what we often come up against in the comments from our audience is that, okay, you guys are eating a whole foods plant-based diet and you've clearly cured a lot of health problems that you had, but my doctor knows best and they're qualified, and if they say that I need to eat meat, dairy and eggs, well then, why should I listen to the doctors, the plant-based doctors that you refer to, such as yourself from nutritionfacts.org and other leading plant-based doctors?
As far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't trust anybody. You trust the science, right? Not the person. The person, look, none of us were born with this information. So the question is, where'd you get it from? And, doctors suffer a severe nutrition deficiency in education. Most doctors are just never taught. You both know more than 99% of the doctors out there on nutrition. And that's not hard. There's actually studies. There's a head-to-head study of the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people off the street may know more about basic nutrition. It was a 10 true or false question, basic stuff, more about nutrition than their doctor. Right? Maybe the doctor was reading something on the checkout stand it's like, unfortunately, but because the doctor says it, they listen to you. But it's like, okay, well, yeah, but where'd you get this information from? And so you say, show me the science. You say, obviously you weren't born with it. Where'd you find out about it? You'd like to think naively that, doctors know what they're talking about when it comes to nutrition. The number one cause of death and disability in the United States is our diet. Number one cause of it. So obviously, nutrition is the number one thing taught in medical school, right? The number one thing your doctor talks to you about at every single visit, right? Wait a second, how could there be this disconnect between the science and the practice of medicine? And that goes back to all sorts of economic influences and time constraints and reimbursement issues. And there's lots of problems. And so, show me the science. That's why, look, you go to Nutrition Facts, and it's not like me saying, this is my opinion, this is my belief, this is what I think. In fact, I try to, as much as possible, not give my opinion, belief, and I say, look, here's the study right here, here's the quote, here's the chart, here's the graph, here's the sources cited button, you click on it, there's links to all the primary sources, read it yourself, right?
And this is why we always refer to and link studies in the description box below our videos, so that people can follow up and read the research for themselves.
Yeah, this is not our opinion.
No.
It's not that vegan couple's diet. It's the science. And yes, we obviously agree with it.
The next thing we spoke to Dr. Greger about was the concern on vegan YouTube that there's a potential danger in promoting the health benefits of a plant-based diet.
Yeah, because it raises expectations that someone might be able to cure their health problems eating this way.
But then if that doesn't happen, they will be very disappointed, fall short of their expectations, and potentially go back to eating animal products.
We asked Dr. Greger whether vegan YouTubers should promote a plant-based diet centered on whole foods and its health benefits, and link to sources like nutritionfacts.org and the research of leading plant-based doctors.
Or is it dangerous, and should we not even suggest eating whole plant foods for health because we're not formally qualified?
But what, qualified to communicate? I mean, that's all. I mean, look, I didn't do this research either, right? Look, you think I learned this in medical school? My MD means nothing when it comes to nutrition. Anyone's MD means practically nothing, right? Average nutrition training, it was 3 hours. The latest survey of medical schools in the States, less than a quarter of a single dedicated course in nutrition. Wait a second. So an MD means nothing when it comes to nutrition, right? I mean, when it comes to other aspects of medicine, like what antibiotic to take, they should know what they're talking about because they were presumably taught that. They weren't taught anything about nutrition. So it's really just like we're all coming from the same evidence base. Someone actually did a study or someone didn't do a study, right? And so it's just taking that study that's already been done and giving it to the public, right? And
sorry, what about something like anecdotal evidence where, for example, we came to this lifestyle with a heap of health problems and we've managed to cure asthma, candida, eczema, hyperhidrosis, terrible period pain, etc. Now, we're giving our experience in this, but is that pseudoscience, even though we know that the science is backing us up and this is our experience?
So anecdote is evidence, a very weak form of evidence, but it's evidence nonetheless. You say, well, wait a second, what if someone says, well, I got better eating bacon and butter or whatever? Okay, so wait a second, what's the difference between the two? The difference between the two is because the diet you're recommending is health promoting. Even if it was just a total coincidence that you started eating this diet and all the health problems went away. Maybe they totally would have went away otherwise, right? What you're telling people is a safe, simple, side effect-free solution. So it's like you coming out and saying, I stopped smoking, and all of a sudden, my psoriasis went away. Now, is there any link between cigarettes and psoriasis? There might be. But for the sake of argument, let's say there's absolutely no link. Nothing between psoriasis and smoking. You say, look, I stopped smoking, and my psoriasis went away immediately, so please stop smoking. Okay. The reason that is benign, helpful advice is because you're telling people to do something that's good for their health. Even if it doesn't help psoriasis, then look, it's going to prevent them from dying from, lung cancer. I mean, that's the nice thing about promoting a healthy diet is because, look, even if it doesn't help even if half the studies were made up by the broccoli lobby, we still have this incredible science suggesting it helps. And even if it didn't help with these individual conditions, it helps with the leading killer, right? Number one cause, it reverses the number one killer of men and women. What else do you need, right? Even if it didn't help with asthma.
Yeah.
The fact that it does help with asthma and that it does improve, energy and sleep, all these other things. See, that is what it's great for motivation.
Again, just to reinforce what we said earlier on, we're not coming up with these claims or ideas. We're simply parroting what we've learned from the plant-based doctors and what the science is telling us all.
We ran out of time with Dr. Breger at this point. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to speak with him more about how, in addition to diet, there are other lifestyle factors that can affect our health.
Yeah, like proper sleep, proper hydration, regular exercise, our mental and emotional state, our environment, etc. So we've linked some studies down below addressing most of these factors and how they can affect our health.
And although there is science to back up these other lifestyle factors, it does make us wonder how some people can doubt these very basic and simple ideas.
Yeah, I mean, surely drinking enough water so that you don't get dehydrated is a good thing. Getting enough quality sleep is a good thing.
Exercising regularly is a good thing. Being in happy, healthy, loving relationships is a good thing. Being in a good home, enjoying your work, being a positive person. These are all really good things.
Yeah, and all of these things impact our mental and physical health. It's not pseudoscience, and it's certainly not rocket science either. It's common sense.
These are just basic things that our modern, busy, production-driven, stressed-out world forgets about or doesn't have time for, and then wonders why their health isn't improving.
Yeah, and all we have to do is reverse these things.
That's right.
When was the last time we heard someone say that drinking less water, having short and disruptive sleep, not exercising, and being stressed, negative, and unhappy would actually improve our health?
These things are just common sense.
Now, of course, eating whole plant foods and living a healthy lifestyle doesn't make us bulletproof.
Absolutely not. Anybody, including us, can still have a skin breakout or catch a cold, etc.
The point is that our immune systems are going to be stronger eating a plant-based diet centered on whole plant foods and living a healthy lifestyle.
And we do find that we get sick a lot less than we used to, and we also recover a lot quicker without needing medication.
The one response video that we can think of where we suggested that someone didn't focus their diet on whole plant foods initially was our video for Sarah.
And that was only because she said that the high fiber content of a plant-based diet was making her symptoms of a pre-existing digestive problem worse.
So obviously we couldn't suggest whole plant foods because they're high in fiber, and so instead we suggested she initially eat a low fiber plant-based diet.
And there are plenty of vegans who eat a low fiber diet.
We showed this example of foods Sarah should avoid and have that we found on a low fiber diet website. We did add a note to this example that suggested in time she may be able to gradually include more high fiber whole plant foods. On a separate note, we do want to also stress here in this video that we're not perfect, and yes, we do make mistakes just like everyone else.
For example, almost a year ago, back in December 2015, we answered a question on Tumblr from somebody who suffered with depression and wanted to get off their medication.
We gave them all the usual diet and lifestyle advice, everything that we've already talked about in this video, because diet and lifestyle has been scientifically shown to affect mental health. See the links below.
So that was all fine, but then we did something stupid. At the end of the comment, we suggested that if they followed our advice, they wouldn't need their medication.
Obviously, we should not have said that. We should have suggested that they need to incorporate diet and lifestyle changes and work together with their doctor to reduce their medication.
What we were trying to emphasize in that comment was that making the diet and lifestyle changes could very possibly help this person achieve their goal of not needing medication anymore, or perhaps at least reducing it.
Again, that was said a year ago, and we're sure everyone has said things in the past that they wish they hadn't. So we do apologise for that last line of that comment, and we have deleted the post.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that we made that comment so strongly was because of the comments that we read from people who have either reduced or got off their medication for depression on this diet and lifestyle.
And a friend of ours suffered from serious depression for most of his life and was heavily medicated even as a vegan and hospitalised for suicidal tendencies.
Yeah, but after he changed his diet to predominantly whole plant foods and also made those other lifestyle changes that we spoke about earlier, he's off his medication and living a pretty normal life compared to previously.
And yes, it's anecdotal evidence, but I tell you what, if I was considering taking my own life, I'd listen to the guy who was once in my position too, and survived, and turned his life around.
But yes, of course, you should consult your doctor if you want to reduce your medication.
At the end of the day, we're just ordinary people sharing our experience here on YouTube, and people can take it or leave it.
As we've said before, we turned to the internet for help because all we were getting from doctors was medication, and NFI looks. So yeah, we went to the internet and we found lots of different things, and we tried lots of different things, some very stupid things.
Yeah, but eventually we found the truth and
Yeah.
the solution. We found this diet and lifestyle by watching ordinary people sharing their experiences just like we're doing.
What we do know is that even if there wasn't one single scientific study to back up what we've been saying,
Which there is.
we would still eat and live this way because we have experience, we've seen for ourselves the amazing transformation in our own bodies.
And of course, we've covered all of this before in previous videos, but at age 36, we now have the health and fitness we could only ever dream about in our 20s.
As I've often described Luca in previous videos, I used to say it was like pulling a bag of shit through life because he was so heavy with fatigue, with the candida. There was no spark, there was no life in him, and you'd always be sick. You know, he'd go and work out once and he'd have a cold for a week. The immune system was so low. So when we changed this diet, and this was even when we were vegan previously, right? But when we came to whole plant foods, high carb, low fat, it was like, ta-da, I got a new husband. Who is this man? I'd never known Luca to be like this, and we've been together for 18 years now.
And I can tell you that there's nothing worse than being woken night after night after night by the person that you love more than anything in the world because they're gasping for their next breath. They don't know where it's coming from because they're having so bad of an asthma attack. And they can't even jog on the spot for 30 seconds without having another terrible, terrible asthma attack. And now they're, running up dirt trails, up mountains in near record time, just loving life and living it to its full as they always wished they would. And, I've always wished she could.
Yeah. With no medication, no coughing, no wheezing, no problems, no allergies, nothing.
By simply changing the diet based on watching ordinary people on YouTube share their experiences.
People can see what we're eating every day on Snapchat, we describe what exercise we're doing, we show that we're drinking lots of water, etc.
So people can see this lifestyle in motion.
And I've also shown my physical results too, so people can simply observe what we're doing and apply it to their lives if they want.
If people don't want to, that's their choice. Of course, we want everyone to experience the health and fitness we have at the moment, but ultimately it doesn't really change our lives or matter to us if people believe us or not.
No, we know how we feel and where we've come from, and that's all that matters.
What's incredible is when people let us know that we have helped them go vegan or helped them to eat healthier, heal a health problem, get fitter, etc.
These messages are absolutely priceless to us, and we are forever grateful to the people who are brave enough to step up, take control of their lives, and make better choices for themselves and the world.
Of course, we can't address all the comments and concerns we read, but these were some of the main things we wanted to clear up.
So, is that vegan couple bad for veganism?
Or is saying that vegan couple is bad for veganism bad for veganism?
We'll let you decide.
Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment below.
And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more health and fitness information and motivation.
And until next time, remember that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye, guys.
Pre-Christmas turkey video getting us all cozy and ready and comfortable to tuck into dead animals. Love it.
Let's take a look at the video.